Almost 30 years ago, Australian businesses introduced Sunday trading hours to entice higher consumer purchasing. Sundays were deemed to be outside of normal work hours, hence employers were obligated to provide staff with incentives in the form of penalty rates. Until recently, Australian workers who worked outside normal trading hours were provided with higher rates of pay as incentive for working these shifts. For hospitality and retail workers in Australia, that is all about to change. From July 1, the Australian Fair Work Commission will be introducing gradual penalty rate cuts for those who work in retail and hospitality. The changes affect those who are some of the country's lowest paid workers. Calvin Metman works at the Sofitel Hotel, one of Brisbane's most prestigious 5-star hotels. As such, Calvin will be affected by the pay cuts. Can you describe what your job role is?
Well, I work at a hotel in the events and conferences. So what we do is we set up for conferences, banquets, dinners, weddings, all those sort of events that you go to a large-scale venue for.
And what kind of hours and days do you usually work?
Generally between 8 to 12 hours, lasting anywhere from 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 4 a.m. in the morning, or 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, are generally the hours.
Will the cut in pay rates affect the amount that you earn in a significant way?
Yeah, I think so. It's going to mean that I have to work a few more hours, and they might not roster as many people. The original idea behind the introduction of penalty rates was to compensate employees for having to work outside of normal trading hours. Because of the higher rates of pay, Fair Work believes that employers are deterred by them to schedule staff to work on Sundays and public holidays. Fair Work has stated that penalty rates were not introduced for this reason, but rather to compensate employees for having to work outside of what used to be normal operational hours. Hospitality workers aren't the only ones affected by pay cuts. However, those who work in retail are set to cop the biggest pay cuts out of everyone affected. Oscar Clark is an employee of Bunnings Warehouse who from July is going to be losing as much as 20% every week. How is losing either the additional wage or having to work more hours to make up for it going to impact your life?
Yeah, no, I probably will have to work a few more hours here and there just to live reasonably well.
For people like Calvin and Oscar who are employed in these affected industries, they're either going to have to work more hours and forego time for studying or other hobbies, or simply try and scrape by on a lower wage. Those who are already the lowest paid workers in Australia are clearly the ones who are going to struggle the most, whether it be for more income, more time for study, or more options for leisure.